my soul in the early morning. Wake up again, it's a new day. Wake up my soul, it's time to fly. Float on the winds and kiss the sky. The birds and flowers were made for you and me. I must be all I can be.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to LABL Live, right here with your boy Leo. Right here, we give you the inspiration, we give you the insights on how to live a better life. Come on, that's what we're talking about. Great to have every single one of you this morning with me. Great to be joining you. Great for you to be joining us on the program this morning. It is a blessed Friday morning, the first Friday of the year, ladies and gentlemen. So you better enjoy this one to the fullest. There would never be another first Friday in 2023, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you had a great week so far, the first week of the year, and I hope you're feeling blessed. I hope you're feeling good. This morning you woke up because of the mighty hand of God, the power of God, the mercy of God, ladies and gentlemen, and so you should be feeling blessed because of that. I don't care what happened to you yesterday. I just want you to know that today can be different. I just want you to keep that in mind, all right? And you're going to be walking the streets with a smile on your face. You're going to be going to work this morning knowing that you're a child of the King, and you're going to be operating like that, ladies and gentlemen, because you are. All right, this morning we have a wonderful guest to be presented in just a short while. We're going to have a conversation in just a bit, but before we do so, we just got to let you know that this is a day that God created, and you are alive because it's another opportunity for every single one of us. Opportunity to do what? It's the opportunity to do the things that we're supposed to be doing, to fix things in our lives. Anybody living a broken life? Anybody is struggling with challenges, addictions? You don't have to be ashamed to talk about your addictions, but you don't have to come out and talk about it if you don't like. But make sure you talk to God about it. Don't be ashamed about your addictions. Just be willing to fight, be willing to overcome, talk to God about it, and it's going to create in you a level of strength to help you be able to deal with life. Anybody dealing with addiction, anybody dealing with broken marriages this morning, anybody have a broken life this morning? I think I'm talking to a broken people. We're a bunch of broken people, ladies and gentlemen, and there would be a lot of things that would happen in life that would try to throw us off, that would try to distract us and cause us to feel down and depressed. But don't worry about it. God is there, and God knows who you are. He knows what you're struggling with, and He's going to walk with you. He's going to talk with you. He's going to give you everything that you need. And this morning, that is what we're all about, ladies and gentlemen. We're all about bringing the vibes to keep the people alive. We're all about the motivation and the inspiration, ladies and gentlemen. And we have an elder this morning to be sitting with us and chatting with us and give us some encouragement, some insight, some wisdom, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to be gleaning from that in just a short while. All right. Before we do that, I just got to jump on the chat rooms. All right. We got some people on this morning, both YouTube and Facebook. And I just got to hail out my people a little bit. You're my people. You're the VIP here this morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're important. For those of you who comment, for those of you who don't comment, you're important to this program. Thank you so much. All right. So let me jump on this chat and let me hail out my people this morning. This morning, I'm seeing Gladys Miller is on the program. Terrence is on the program. Big up my boy Tero. Lurleen O'Milly. Dookie Peters. Good morning to you. Edwin Toolsey. We got Jerry Collado all the way from the Philippines. Good morning to you, my man. Yeah, we got Alice John and Suri Bernard. Jeremiah Ramu. Good morning, sir. Kimberly Thompson, good morning to you. All right, don't matter if you just seen a little piece of me on the screen. All right, don't worry, enjoy that piece. All right, Jennifer Julian, we got Florence Turton, we got Suri Bernard in the house, ladies and gentlemen. We got Nicolette Samuel, Vera Roper, Shalon Osborne, Alice Solomon, Davika Van Lewin. We got Angie Sandesi, Charmaine Boys. Good morning to you, moms. How are you this morning? Wilma Hamlet is in the house as well. Louise Edward, she's inside as well. Good to have you. Cecilia George and Leroy George, good morning to you guys. Blessed Friday to you. Lenora Francis Moses, good morning to you, my girl. How are you doing this morning? Good to have you. Edwin Tulsi, my beautiful brother. Timothy Benjamin, Peggy Roberts Lee is in the house. Marceline George and Florence Sturton, Jack De Lutchman, Auntie Carol. Good morning to you, Auntie Carol. How are you? And Uncle Wayne, hope you guys doing fine. Oh my, Dixie, and hey Dixie, it's been a while since I called your name. How is my boys? How are my boys doing, Dixie? All the way from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. All right, Minetta Campbell is inside. Bertrice St. Paul, Patsy Gregg, just to name a few people on the inside. You know, I just got to call you guys by name. You know, you guys are special. You guys are important. And I want to say good morning to you and thank you so much for your daily encouragement by being on this program and supporting this program. All right, guys from all over the place. Good morning, Michelle Niak and Beulah Tate, Gail Ann Boyer on YouTube. Good morning to you guys. You know, this morning we should be having some fun as always. You know, we always try to come out here and have some fun. Always try to give you the best way to start your day. I realize that it's important, it's healthy to have a good morning routine. You know, because the way you start your day can determine how your day flows, you know, how your day goes. You know, so it's always good. It's a good practice to have a good morning routine. And that's one of the reasons why we started this program, to help you with a good morning routine. You know how it is to wake up and the first thing in the morning, you're out here in positivity. You know, you're thanking God, you're blessing the name of God, you're singing a song or two, you know, you're listening to some encouraging word or message or discussion. You know, that's a good way to start your day. And LABL is here to give you that good start. I know sometimes we try to start things on our own, but we're not disciplined enough to continue. But don't worry about it. LABL is here to help you, ladies and gentlemen. So it's great to have you guys on the program this morning. And may God continue to bless you and your families. All right. So outside is pretty cold. I'm seeing on my my temperature here is 32 degrees outside. And if you don't know what 32 degrees is, I don't have the time to convert that into, that should be about what? Ooh, that should be about 8 degrees Celsius. Just about 8 degrees Celsius, all right? That is pretty cold, ladies and gentlemen. These are temperatures you don't find on your air conditioned unit. They are below air conditioned unit, ladies and gentlemen. So it's pretty cold outside, and I'm going to be keeping myself warm and trying to be safe in these weathers, all right? These conditions, all right? So blessings to you guys. I want to sing a little song. We're going to sing God Has Smiled on Me this morning, because I believe that, you know, many of us, if not all of us, may have been in situations, like have experiences where we can see God smiling on us, you know, where we escape death, or we were healed from some sickness, or, you know, something in our lives were miraculously transformed or fixed or solved or dealt with. And we can safely say that, you know, it is God that had smiled on us. Sing a song with me this morning. God has smiled on me. Come on. He has set me free. You better sing with me. Come on. Oh, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Oh, God He has smiled on me, and He has set me free. Oh, God has smiled on me, and He's been good to me. Guys, I need you to do something for me. Put some hearts in the chat this morning. Put some hearts in the chat if you believe God had smiled on you. Sometimes, we just got to take that moment to reflect on what God has done for us, because the more we reflect on it, the more it allows us to feel that sense of gratitude. We are grateful for God and his presence. There's a reason why, God wanted the children of Israel every 7th day to sit down and to reflect on him taking them out of Egypt, and bringing them, out of slavery and out of bondage. It helps them to reflect and to remember, the goodness of God, the power of God, and so that they can be grateful to God for what he has done. So I want you to put some hearts in the chat if God would have smiled on you, and continue to reflect on that. Sing with me. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Come on. Oh, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Sing it. Singing, yeah, God has, come on, smiled on me. I know he has set me free. Oh, God has smiled on me, and he's been good to me. Amen. God has indeed been good to us, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, indeed. Let's sing this one. I keep falling in love with him over and over and over and over again. Sing, I keep falling in love with him over and over and over and over again. And he gets sweeter and sweeter as the days go by. Sing, oh, what a love between my Lord and I. Keep falling in love with him over and over and over and over. But listen to this one. Well, and he keeps blessing me over and over and over and over and over again. And he keeps blessing me. Oh, anybody feeling blessed this morning? Come on, over and over and over again. And he gets sweeter and sweeter as the day go by. Sing, oh, what a love between my Lord and I. Keep falling in love with him over and over and over and over. Well, and he keeps cleansing me over and over and over and over and over. Come on, he's gonna cleanse you. Come on. He keeps cleansing me over and over and over and over and over again. And he gets sweeter and sweeter as the day goes by. Sing, oh, what a love between my Lord and I. Keep falling in love with him over and over and over and over. Well, I keep falling in love with him over. Do you have a good relationship with God this morning? Come on, sing with me again. Oh, I keep falling in love with him over and over and over and over again. And he gets sweeter and sweeter as the days go by. Sing, oh, what a love between my Lord and I. Keep falling in love with him over and over and over and over again. That's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, what a good way to start your day. Come on, you lift up your voice and you sing those songs of praises to God. We know who we are serving, ladies and gentlemen. And when people look at us, they need to see the glory of God in us shining through us. They need to see what true love is, what true joy is, how to wake up. Some people say on the wrong side of the bed and still have a smile on your face. We need to show people how to live. We are the children of the King, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, that's what we're talking about. Good morning to those who are just popping in, those who are just jumping on the chat, both YouTube and Facebook. Good morning to every single one of you guys. Really appreciate you guys supporting and jumping on the chat. Good morning. Let me just give a little. Let me just call a few names. We're going to get into our discussion in just a minute. I'm seeing Monica Byam is on the chat, and Kimberly Thompson, Sharon Manswell. Good morning to you. All right, Robert Guy. Good morning to you. Good to see you once again, my boy. Gail Archibald is on. Sharon Simmons, all the way from Bermuda. All right. Good morning to you. All right. So blessings to you. I'm seeing Diana John. She's out, and yes, Diana John is a faithful, a long and good old faithful. All right. Anton, good morning to you. CJ, blessed morning to you. All right. Great motivation songs this morning. Thanks, Leon. Blessings to you, Louise. No problem. That's what we do here. That's what we do here. So if you want some more, you better tune in every single morning. All right. Not on weekends. We'll leave the weekends for you to sleep in late. All right. But every morning, Monday to Friday, tune in to us on LABL, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to be encouraging your hearts and helping you to do better. All right. Well, this morning we want to introduce to you a man. He's a really loving guy, a really lovely guy. You know, one of the best people that I've met. You know, coming to the United States, a great sense of support in so many different ways. You know, and there's this comfort that you feel around him. He doesn't have to tell you anything or do anything for you, but there's this level of comfort and this, you know, warm feeling that you feel around him because that is who he is. He is genuine. He treats you like if he knew you from a child, you know, and I love that about him. And he was one that God placed in my path as I came here to the United States. And I really wanted to invite him here to talk with us, to chat with us. I believe that he has a lot to offer. He has a lot of wisdom to share. He is experienced in being there for people, supporting people, and what we're going to talk about this morning in serving people. All right. And this morning, I want to welcome to you the one and only. He is an elder. Some people call them bishops. Some people call them shepherds. Some people call them overseers, whatever you want to call them. But this morning, I want to welcome to you the one and only Keith Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program this morning. Keith Johnson. Good morning to you, Keith. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, my brother. I'm blessed and thankful for another day and another opportunity. I'm also thankful for this opportunity, even though it's a little outside of my sphere, having to wake up this early. But I'm very thankful for the opportunity and thankful for this forum because it's something that's needed. It's something that we as a people really need to engage in some more. I'm a little uncomfortable with the idea of talking about service, but I wanted to do it because you asked me, and I think and pray, and I've been praying about this, that God would somehow find a way to help me to be able to say something that will touch somebody today.
Yeah, you know, I know that, you know, there are people, and you're one of them. There are people that love to do things, they love to serve people, but they don't like people to know. They don't like to, you know, toot their horns and let people know what they are doing and how they are doing it. But I also know that God has a way of working through people like that. So if you're able to do that, you know, out of the kindness of your heart, and you're able to do it seamlessly, you're able to have joy in serving people, then, you know, God can also use you to talk about it, to share with other people your experiences, because people, that is what we are called to do. We are called to be servants, you know, and some people, you know, learn to do it on their own, but other people just need to be encouraged and hear how it is done and the joy in doing it, you know, so that they can be encouraged to do it as well. And I have seen your service, not just to me, but to others. And I have heard, because you always, you know, we talk about stories, we talk about stuff, you know, personally, between both of us. And, you know, I've felt, you know, that sense of servitude, you know, that service, that servanthood, that stewardship, from within you have felt it, deeply and genuinely. And I just wanted someone who knew about it from experience to talk about it, someone who is involved in it to talk about it. And I couldn't choose a better person. So I know you don't like to talk about yourself and what you do, but we're going to do that this morning. We're going to talk about you this morning, and we're going to talk about service in general. So I really hope that everyone on the chat, you're set and you're ready to enjoy this conversation, because Elder Keith, Shepherd Keith, Bishop, let's use Bishop Keith. I love this one. Bishop Keith, that sounds good. Bishop Keith is good. As you said, he said earlier, he is doing something he's not accustomed to. I've been waking people up before their bedtime to come on this program, but Keith is one of them. And we just appreciate him so much. So I hope you guys are ready to glean from what he has to say in this moment. All right, so before we go on, tell the people a little bit about yourself. Tell the people, who is Keith Johnson? What is Keith Johnson all about? Introduce yourself a little bit to the people.
I was raised in South Africa, and I was also raised in a time when it was just difficult for us as a people to live together. South Africa is called the Rainbow Nation. And there's a reason for that, because we have so many tribes, so many traditions, so many peoples. And then you have people like me that are not from one tribe. I am so mixed. I don't know if most of you would know what Heinz 57 is. Heinz has 57 different products, and ketchup is one of them. But I am so mixed that I don't even know the full label that I have in my own DNA. And so in South Africa, that's even a difficult place to be, because I'm not considered white, I'm not considered black. So I'm caught in the middle. So there's about 10 million of us caught in the middle with that label as mixed raced people. And some people use even some more heavier words than mixed people. And so growing up with a label, it was very difficult to find a place or a voice. And so it took me a long time to realize that it's not about who I am or what I look like. Some people spin their wheels on what color Jesus was. And some people make a big deal of that. And to me, what does that have to do with who he was? It ain't got anything to do. So I don't even go into that conversation, because there's other things that people need to be talking about. But even that comment, it's rooted deeply in our society. And so we feed off of our society. And sometimes that distracted us. So I grew up in South Africa, and the very tip, I'm a ocean boy, love the ocean, love seafood, grew up with 9 siblings. So, and then we also, all 10 of us grew up in one room. So I had to learn early to negotiate. I'm the second oldest of 10 children. So my older brother's deaf and mute. And so I, by default, was the spokesperson for the family. And so that's my humble roots. Right now, both my parents are gone. My dad just died earlier in last year. And my mother died some 25 years ago. But with that said, Mom instilled some things in us as children that would be the beginning for me. Before I knew what the word servant meant, before I knew what servant smells like. I use that word because shepherds are supposed to smell like sheep. And before all of that, there was this innate feeling within me to want to be more. And my mother actually is the one that instilled that in me.
Hmm.
You love to sing. I love to sing. And this morning, I want to actually start with that because that song is going to set up where we're going today.
Oh boy.
So again, my example on this earth of servanthood is my mother. So I want to start just with that. Actually, let me start with the scripture, Mark chapter 10, verse 45, because this is going to set up the whole thing for us. Even the Son of Man did not come to this world to be served, but to serve. And if you stop there, it's a beautiful verse. But the Bible says he didn't come to this world to be served, but to serve, and he gave his life as a ransom for many. And so to me, that's my mother's life. The day my mother died, I got a call from my dad, and I knew something was wrong because dad never calls, you know. And so when he just the look on the phone for me, I'm talking before there was video. You could smell the sense that something's wrong. I gave the phone to my wife because I knew something was wrong, and I knew what happened. And dad told me, my wife, that my mother passed away, and I sobbed. In fact, this time of the year, I just came out of that low. Some of us that have lost folks at this time of the year, we come through that, and it's a difficult place to be. But because of Jesus Christ, that really pulls you through. Yeah. So anyway, I flew home, went through the customary ways. Usually when I walk into the door, mom's there. She wasn't there. Dad opened the door. I walked through the front door, out the back door, around the back. And I just sobbed because the person that usually meets me wasn't there. And while I'm standing there, a lady came back. She was on her way back home from work. For us from the islands and us from Africa, there's something about an African woman that always has something on her head. Well, this lady had about 10 brooms on her head. And usually that means if she has that many brooms, that means she didn't have any business that day because she's on her way home already. This lady looked at me and she said, "Young man, what's the big tent for?" And in my culture, when it's someone that's old enough to be my mother, we call her auntie. Right. I think that's part of your culture. Yeah. And I said, "Auntie, that tent is for a funeral." And she goes, "Whose funeral?" And I said, "My mother passed away." And the lady just fainted. So I ran out, called my dad. We brought the lady inside. And the lady said, "Auntie Barbara, just last week when I came home with nothing that I sold for that day, called me into the house." You see, my mother's mission was hand washing. But her washing was done in the backyard where everyone can see that walks by. That was her mission. And that's how she served people. So this lady told me this story. That's a good way for me to pass something along to my children. She said, "Just last week when I came home, your mother knew I didn't sell anything because I had all my brooms on my head. She invited me in and she said, I knew how dirt poor your family is because I've been in your house." She said, "Your mama opened that refrigerator, and it's not an American refrigerator. It's not a double door. To us, our fridges are very small." She said she opened the fridge. Your mother went into the egg carton and there was one egg. And she gave me that egg. And I said, "Auntie Barbara, I cannot take this because it's the only egg that you have." And my mother said, "But you have to. Because today God sent you and you need this egg." So my mother gave the last that she had away to someone else. Wow. Another example. We are 10 children. We're sitting around the table. And to feed us in a single morning takes 2.5 to 3.5 loaves of bread. Why so much? Because some of that bread is for our lunch Some of that bread is for our food. That might be the only food we have for that day. When people come and they knock on the door, and that happens frequently because we lived on a very busy street corner, and someone would come and say, "Auntie, I need some food. Can you give me some?" And my mother would always give something away. And I struggled with that because I'm 19 years old and in the US now. I'm at York College in Nebraska. It's a private Christian school. And I'm thinking about all these things, and I'm like, where did the food come from that she gave away?
Right.
Because I always had my own portion.
Wow.
Imagine 19 years old, and you think you know everything, and you think about those things, and then I realized, you know what my mother did, my brother? She gave away her portion. Wow. To a stranger.
Wow.
And so the last story I want to tell, and then we can dive. I'm at college, and my mother calls. I called. $20. Someone would give me $20 a month. And this is where you come in, brother. I know what it's like, and I never want to forget what it's like to be in another country and not to have money. One person out of Texas would send me $20 a month, and I had to choose. Am I going to wash my clothes, or am I going to call my mother? You know what I did? I called my mother. So, and I know how to hand wash, so I'd hand wash my clothes. And that's another story, because in the Midwest, it's so cold, you can't hang clothes out like we used to.
Yeah.
So my clothes would be stiff because I tried to hang it up. But mother, I'd call, I have 3 minutes. It's like 7 minutes, right? For a phone call, $7 a minute. And she would start singing because she loved to sing. This is back in the 80s, man. And she'd start singing, I love you with the love of the Lord. I'd say, Mama, I ain't got time for this. I said, I got to talk to everyone. I said, I've got 9 siblings. I got dad that I still need to talk to. I love you with the love of the Lord. Mama, can we sing later? Now I need to talk to people. I see in you the glory of my King, and I love you with the love of the Lord. She set me up that what was important was when people leave you, you leave them with something. So to this day, that song, when I think of that song, I think of my mother, because she had a way of singing her way into your heart. So I come to this country, a country of plenty. I start with humble beginnings, not knowing what I'm going to eat. And there's nights when that happened, because people think when you're here, and this is you, and on a full scholarship, they think you got it made.
Yeah.
Well, there's summers, there's breaks, where everybody comes and they just smile at you, and they don't realize that you're hungry, because we come from a place where we're not going to say I'm hungry, because where we're from, people can look at you and see you hungry. So I had to learn how to incorporate where I come from to where I am. But here's the principle. It took me forever to realize that when you give, you receive. But when you give with the intention to receive, you're not going to. And I try to be what I can to everyone that I meet, because I know what it's like to feel obscure in a crowd. I had to learn to open my mouth and let people know when I'm in need. And that took forever. But here's the thing. Being in need is human.
Yeah.
And to be human is to be in need. The thing is, all of us are in need. But sometimes someone needs to be the one on the lower end of the rung.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. If you look at the life of Jesus, man, that's who he was. He was the person that would come in and take a towel
Mhm.
and wash feet. Man, I know our people, African people, we love our flip flops. Some of us, our toes are ugly, man. And I'm thinking, what was that servant's life like
Mhm.
that had to sit there and wash people's feet? Which means you had a job to do. It was an important job to everyone else, but it wasn't an important job. So I had to learn to make do with what I have and with where I am, to understand that even in my lowest of low, where I don't have money, there's still someone that's worse off than me. But because I felt, even in my own country, like I don't belong, could you imagine in your own country not feeling like you belong?
Yeah.
Like, you know, the government don't care, nobody around you care, everyone's out for themselves. And then I realized, why am I worried about the fact that I might not even look South African to some people? I mean, when I talk to people, the last place they think I'm from is South Africa.
Yeah, true. That's true.
You know, they think everything else. They think I'm from the islands. We lived in Hawaii for a while.
Okay.
And when we were there, people thought I was from there. When I'm in Louisiana, they think I'm from there. When I'm in Florida, they think I'm Cuban. You know, it's like, and I love that, the universality of that. But I had to learn to find my niche, and I learned that when I've learned to serve is when God is at his happiest with me. So, remember those 3.5 loaves I told you about? Sometimes I had to go to the store,
Yeah.
and your crowd will know what I'm talking about. I had to go and get the bread on the book because we couldn't buy the bread there and then. You go and they sign you in this book, and the end of the month, I take the money to pay for the bread that we've already consumed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that person from the store today is a grandmother, and she's still my friend.
Wow.
She's actually a Muslim young lady. By the way, South Africa have a lot of Muslims. In fact, half of my family is Muslim. And the world wants us to believe that, you know, that Muslims are inflammatory. They want us to believe that Muslims are people that just are out to harm others. That's not true.
Mm.
That lady, in fact, when I call her, she's auntie to me.
Mm.
And I love that about us, about the way we treat people. When you call someone auntie, you're already saying you mean something to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, my dad taught us that even the drunk person in the street is my auntie.
Mm.
It's a sense of community.
Wow.
And he said, don't forget, you can even learn from that person. And yes, you can. You can either learn what to do or what not to do from anyone. I'm going to decide how that's going to go. Do you have any questions that we can, you know, spearhead some of that a little bit more?
Man, we got a lot of questions. And before we go forward, you know, I want to encourage, you know, everyone looking at the program, everyone viewing the program on YouTube, and those viewing the program on Facebook, feel free to ask, you know, questions to Brother Keith. You know, ask him any questions concerning, you know, service and servanthood and, you know, his experience in certain things and, you know, things that you might be struggling with or stuff you want answers for. He wouldn't have the answers for everything, but you can ask your questions and he would, you know, give you answers based on his experience and his knowledge, his learnings and so on. So feel free to ask your questions in the chat. But as we go forward, you know, I just want to talk about the way you serve and the way you talk about your mom, how important it is to pass on great values of servanthood to your children, how important it is to show your children that is important and it's more blessed to give than to receive, how important it is to not just tell them but let them see it in you, how you treat the neighbor, how you treat the drunk man on the street, how you treat the poor people, how important it is for a parent to pass on those values and teach the child to serve.
There are great entrepreneurs in this place, in this world, and there are great philanthropists, and there's great people that are doing good things for this world. But to me, there's a difference between that and being a Christian. Okay? We can all serve, but if you have Jesus Christ, it's a little deeper for me. Remember, I said earlier, I had trouble growing up in South Africa because I didn't feel like I belonged. But until I realized, man, this world is not my home. I'm just passing through. Until I realized it really doesn't matter what other people think of me, but it's what God knows about me that's important. So this idea of servanthood, we as preachers, teachers, we talk about Jesus Christ and what he's done for us.
Yeah.
But man, when you see it live in your life, that's when the rubber meets the road. Because even thinking about this time of the year, we go through this high and low, being around people, and then you think about the people that you've lost. I know a lot of us dip low on this. But when we also think of those same people that have gone before us, I think about their faith with which they stood in this world. And then to me, that's also a testament as to who Jesus Christ is. Because in Genesis, what do we learn about Jesus Christ, about the Father, about the Son, about the Holy Spirit? We learn that we are made in his image, right? So if I'm made in his image, I have one son, two daughters. When people look at my son, 9 out of 10 times they say, yeah, that is your son.
Mm-hmm.
And people say he looked like me. I don't think so.
He does.
But people look at him because I think he's just more handsome than what I ever could be. When people look at him, they'd say, you are Keith's son. That means there's something strikingly about him that reminds people of me.
Yeah.
I want people to have that about me when it comes to my role that I play in this world for Jesus Christ.
Mm.
And so I learned real quick what it's supposed to look like because of my mother. My dad would work double shifts just so that we can have food in the house.
Mm.
There's one more person that influenced me. He came from the US to South Africa. And he's actually the one that put this scripture in my heart. Wayne Spear is a missionary that came there. And he came at a time when our country was turbulent. And as a white man, he came and wanted to worship with us. We struggled with it. What's this guy doing wanting to come and worship with us? But he didn't only worship with us. He came into our home. He just told me the story. He said, I came to your house and we didn't realize that you don't go to people's home right before dinner. Because what's going to happen is you're going to end up eating people's dinner.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Somebody comes to visit, you give them your food. That's how we lived. And look, you can't see all of me, but do I look like I missed a meal? He still provided, is what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's kind of where I come from. And even within the church setting, I spend a lot of time serving the church as a whole, but I do a lot of work in Africa, working with Bible schools. And when I go to these places, you can tell who are the people that are in the in crowd and the people that are outside. Well, I've learned that if I go to Africa and I spend $1,200 on a hotel, that I'm not serving people.
Mm.
So, you know what I do now? I give the $1,200 to that director of that school, and I'd say, here, use this however you want, but I'm staying at your house.
Mm.
Now, as a shepherd, I know that people will respect the title, and I don't want that, but I sure do use the title
Right.
because I know they're going to respect it, and they can't say no. You can't stay at my house.
Yeah.
But I've watched people take that money and stretch that money. You know, they'd give money to people who haven't been paid, preachers that haven't been paid in 6 months.
Wow.
They paying off debts that they've incurred because of the schools that they have to run because people need to eat. So the blessing comes, it comes that way. Talking about all these people that have influenced me. Another person is my own wife. You know, when I came to this country, I came with absolutely nothing. I didn't even know I'm supposed to have an overcoat when I went to Nebraska. You talked about the weather. By the way, it's -1 right now where we are.
Oh.
And so it's cold for us because we know Celsius. We just don't live around this kind of weather.
Yeah.
My first month after marriage, my wife paid the rent.
Wow.
Why? Because I had absolutely nothing.
Wow.
It was a good start for me. Someone else might look at that as a bad start. But there and then I said, I'm going to make sure this never happens again. It was good for me to see my wife wanting to serve in that capacity. But I also said, this will never happen again. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure it doesn't. That happened. First Sunday at church, she's always done this. She'd write the check and give me the check to put in the plate, like I've got something to do with it. She wrote it.
Yeah.
Well, she wrote the check, and I decided to look instead of just putting it in there. And I'm like, what? And I said it so loud, the person that came by to take the money looked at me like, and my wife literally took my hand and made me put it in the plate. Because it was a little bit more than what I thought we were able to give.
Wow.
And she taught me, she said, when you give to God first, everything else is going to work out.
Man.
And that's been our principle. So I use that principle everywhere I go. Sometimes it's when a friend take me out and they decide that they're going to pay for me, whatever my portion was, I give that to the waiter or waitress because I had already planned on spending it. So I want to make sure that I'm passing it on to someone else.
Right.
So we do that frequently. And sometimes, God just puts something kind of weird on my heart. And I'm like, why do you put this man in front of me today?
Yeah.
And then I got to figure out a way because I don't want to offend my brother.
Yeah.
So I got to figure out a way. And I'd say something like, hey, I've got some work because some people won't just take the money. I said, I've got a little work that I want you to do for me. Do you mind coming and doing it for me? And I do that on purpose. And it's not because I want you to work, but because I know your integrity.
Yeah.
You'd rather want to work for it than to just accept the money.
Yeah.
So I have you over in the house, but then now I have an opportunity to open my house to you.
Yeah.
Because what do? As Africans, we love food. So we might as well share a meal together. So now you get to share in the meal as well. So, you use whatever you can to bring Jesus. And St. Francis of Assisi said something like this. He said, We've got to share the gospel and sometimes preach it. What I'm gleaning from that is we don't have to preach to people.
Hmm.
We have to live our sermons to people.
Wow. Talk to me. Talk to me.
And so I've chosen to use that as a segue, a headway to get into people's lives.
Wow.
I've talked enough. Any questions?
Man, we got some questions here. Someone asked, what about the people that would have done you wrong? Have you been in a situation, or they want to know how do you get past, the wrong that people do to you to still serve them? I think Suri is the one that asked that question.
Well, chances are that's happened to that person, and it's happened to you.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, it's happened to me.
Hmm.
And even to this day, I still struggle with people. My wife can't believe that I struggle with people because I always talk to everybody.
Yeah.
But this is something, again, it goes back to my roots now. Because remember, I told you my mother situation.
Yeah.
Mom used to take her undergarments and sew them together, hand sew them together, before she buys herself a new one, because she'd rather make sure we have shoes to go to school. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Most of our audience knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, and I remembered people who talk about her torn, undergarments and sometimes her dresses. And she would just say, son, these people don't have lives. They have nothing else to talk about. So if I give them something to talk about, then maybe I must be important to God. So she had a way of diverting it and still using her situation to glorify God.
Yeah.
And of course, as you get older, you realize some people, you look at them, you're like, I don't even know why that person don't like me.
Yeah, true.
And it happens in business. And here's the sad thing, it happens in the church.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Some people will just walk right past you and not even say a word.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I've gone through the cycles where I'm going to continue to greet you. And sometimes my wife would be like, I can't believe you keep greeting that person when they treat you the way that they do. And then I go through, I want nothing to do with them. But then I have to think about this. What if Jesus Christ looks at my life and the dotted life that I live? Because when he looks at my life as a whole, I've done more wrong than what I've done good.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And I don't really deserve what he's offering me. And here's the thing. What he's offering me here on this earth is nothing compared to eternity.
Wow.
So why am I going to nosedive because of one person? Because here's the thing. More people do treat you well, but you and I, or maybe I should say I, sometimes dwell on the one person who tries to harm me, who tries to mistreat me.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about sometimes it's even other ministers that try to nosedive your ministry because you are doing something that they wish that they would do. Some people would look at this program this morning and go, look at him, he's a show-off singing to people. And you are just being yourself by showing what God has done for you. I mean, I still struggle with the fact that it's 5 o'clock in the morning and you're being all this happy about it. But I have to be thankful. And so what do I do now? Even that person that I'm struggling with, this is the key. Here's the thing. And a lot of people don't know how to do this well. Let me see if I can. And I'm not going to show you exactly what I do.
Right.
But if you look at my day is filled with praying. And what I do is I pray for others. So I put it in my calendar
Right.
so that it shows up. If you ask me to pray for you, I put it on my calendar.
Right.
I don't pray for you every day, but I pray.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll just show up on my day, and it'll pop up and it say, pray for so and so. And I'm thinking, man, why don't we pray for people more? See, Leon, if I'm having trouble with you, I'm going to put you on my calendar as well.
Right.
So that, yeah, I'm praying for people whom I love and who love me. Why can't I pray for the people that I'm having trouble with? I'm telling you now, it's hard to pray for people who want to harm you. Isn't that what Jesus did? But I'm sure he did not only pray. He was able to say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now, that's a principle, and that's a difficult principle, but I'm so glad that question was asked. Because here's the thing, I need whoever asked to know that I still struggle with that problem myself.
Man. Keith, and that's one of the things I appreciate about you so much. You don't hide, things about yourself and present yourself as if you have it all together. You're an elder. People have title and they think that the title means you have to present yourself in this way. I mean, you still come out and say you struggle with doing certain things, outright, just like that. That's just it. And what I love about your response is that I don't know what Suri was expecting in her, with her question, but what I love about your response is that it was different to what I was expecting. I was expecting to hear something about, okay, how you found a way to still serve them, like giving them stuff, even if they would have done you wrong. But you showed something different. You said you still serve them, but the way you serve them was praying for them. And that is an amazing way to serve people that would have done you wrong. Because it will still be challenging to be in their presence and to literally give something to them with what have been happening. But you staying in your safe place, in your closet, in your homes, and praying for that person is a great way to serve. Keith, I really appreciate this one. I really appreciate this one. This is a really, really, really big blessing. And Suri said, thank you so much, based on the question that she asked. She said, thank you. All right. And I had to mention your boy Robert Guy is on the chat, and he's been, talking about when you guys met and went to South Africa. And, so you've been serving more than just the average man out here. You've been serving people from way back when. You've been serving people, all type of people, Keith. You're just one of a kind. You're just one of a kind. Suri said, I ask because it's been a while. I'm struggling with that. All right. That is the reason why she asked.
Amen.
Someone else asked, is all your siblings alive? Are all your siblings alive?
Yes, they are. And I'm so glad that person asked, because now I'm asking your prayers. We grew up with a mother that served everyone. We grew up with a father that served his family, and our father just died a couple of months ago. And I say our father, and here's the thing. This man is not my biological dad, but he's the only dad that I know.
Wow.
So to me, some of us get to father children, but this man took me in like I am his own. And so because of that, it helps me with my understanding of who Jesus Christ is. I don't deserve him, and he gave me that opportunity. So all 10 of us grew up as Christians, and of the 10, 5 of us are struggling, and then 3 of the other 5 are back and forth trying to find their way in life. So all 10 of us grew up in one room, and to me, I still remember one of the best things that happened to us is at night, all 10 of us being in one room. Now it's 7 boys and 3 sisters. And that room smelled like foul cabbage every night because of the boys. But all 10 of us coming together, it was our therapy at night. How was your day? What did you do? How did things go? And so I still use that in our lives today. The other thing is we used to have a Bible study in our home every night at 6 o'clock before we eat. And that's something that I passed on to my family.
Right.
So our children didn't know any better. Before they were born, we already had Bible studies in our home. So it becomes like eating cereal every day.
Yeah.
It's just something that you do. So the Bible study just became a part of who we are. So now our house is empty. The kids are gone. But that still goes.
Yeah.
So I know this wasn't part of the question, but I want to make sure that people have something, man. Our congregation put together this Bible reading plan. It's still not too late for you to start one. But what I'm trying to say is for those of us that are thinking about having children, it's not too late to start doing this. For those of us that are seasoned veterans, it's not too late to start that with your spouse or with a friend. But I think if we are people of the book, we're going to have to know the book. We can't just talk about what it says.
Yeah.
And man, the blessings that I have received is just tremendous. And I also want to speak to this because there are people to this day that helped me to become who I am. And coming back to school, coming back to Harding was a difficult thing to do. So you mentioned Brother Robert Guy. Some of these people, they came late into my life, but impacted my life because of the way they live their own lives. And we are in a place where we have teachers that are wanting to serve us. I had to get used to that because where I'm from, if you're a professor, you're way up there. You barely talk to students. But when I run into people like him who are willing to say, come break bread with me.
Yeah.
My door is open for you. I mean, you can't buy that. So it's, we live in a place where there's lots of people that can be served. We have 6, 7 huge congregations here in town. And I have people who say, man, the last thing we need is another church in Cersei. Well, I'm telling you, those 6, 7 congregations combined, as big as what it is, we're still not reaching this whole city. And I think part of it is because we still haven't learned how to serve.
Wow.
Could be wrong, but I think that's where it is. I know that wasn't part of the question. That was free.
Yeah. Wow, man, Keith, I know we're just 4 minutes past our time. Conversation is going really well. I just want to thank you so much. Before I open for you to give, your final words, I just want to say thanks so much. The people on the chat, they are very, very appreciative of what you've been sharing, your life, sharing your experiences, sharing about serving, because serving is an integral part of the Christian life. And we just want to extend our thanks to you. We want to say blessings to you. And I know the people on the program here this morning would have been blessed by what you had to offer and the questions that you answered. All right. So, we're bringing this thing to a close. We're going to open any final words, any final thoughts that you want to share on serving before we wrap this thing up.
Your forum, I know it's also a lifeline for others. And so I want to say thank you for doing this because you've explained to me where this was born from. Yeah. And you've also explained to me how much your wife means to you and how much she has pushed you to do this because she knows your capabilities. I want to thank God for godly spouses, because it's so important for us to know that that person whom you're going to spend the rest of your life with is either going to make you or break you in ministry.
Yeah.
And sometimes, we go for the outward, and a lot of preachers that could have been great servants of God are not, because they're having to spin their wheels and spend 90% of their time working on their relationship with their spouse. I'm saying, please don't waste your time when it comes to that, especially those of you that are still young and not even dating yet. Don't waste your time with a person that don't want anything to do with your ministry, because it's going to become a millstone around your neck along the way. The other thing is, please give my information to anyone who would want to get in touch with me, because I believe God brings people in our lives to help us to become better people.
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers, but man, I've learned something about answers or resources.
Yeah.
I might not know what to do, but I'll know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that might. We were talking about a microwave the other day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll keep 2 or 3 at a time, because we're dealing with college students. So and I keep telling you, if you need something, check with me before you go and buy it. For that reason.
Yeah.
And so I'm just thankful for what God is doing through your ministry. And it's my prayer that God will continue to do that through you and through others. Thank you so much for this opportunity. You have really blessed me by asking me. I was a little apprehensive, but once we started talking, I realized, because that's what I've asked the Lord to do, is to lead instead of me doing the leading. So thank you, my brother. God's blessings on your day and on your year.
Man, I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bishop, Shepherd, Pastor, anything you want to say, but he would rather you just say Brother Keith Johnson. As someone put in the chat a while ago, he's a very down-to-earth brother, and trust me, if you get to meet him, he is much better in person. He's even better in person, and he cooks a really good chicken. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, this is Keith Johnson, a man that I've been blessed to meet, and you would be blessed to meet him as well. If you want to get in contact with Brother Keith Johnson at this time, you can WhatsApp me at 474-0892. That is 868-474-0892, or you can connect with me via Facebook chat. All right, and I will pass on his information if you want to connect more with him. All right, he is truly a blessing to all those who meet him. All right, and so we just want to thank you so much, Keith, for taking your time, for rising from your bed earlier than usual and blessing us with such words and thoughts. And thank you so much for allowing God to use you to bless so many people throughout the world, people that you know, people that you don't know well. Just thank you so much. And we pray that God continue to bless you, your family, your wife, your children, your ministry. Anything your hands touch, we pray that God continue to bless it. All right. And pray that God blesses you out there this morning. All right. Robert Guy is saying this morning was such a blessing for my soul. Thank you, brothers. Big up to you, Robert. Boy. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are way past our time. And, God has been good to us, blessing us with Brother Keith on the program this morning. What a way to close the week. What a way to close the week. Such a blessing. This week has been an absolute blessing. I hope that your life was touched and changed. I hope that your mindset is being changed and geared towards, the service and faithfulness of God. Just remember, God is good and God is faithful. He will never leave you nor forsake you. All you need to do is be obedient and trust in the man himself. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Label with Leo, and we want to thank you so much for tuning in. All right, your boy, Sidney Jones, have been taking care of the production. Put some hearts in the chat this morning for your man, Keith Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Get it up there, get it up there. Put some hearts in the chat for your man, Keith Johnson, for doing such an excellent job on the program. Beautiful way to close the week, ladies. And I want to thank God so much for the opportunity to have this program running. I'm your boy, Leon Lewis, and this was Label. That's what we're talking about. Until Monday, Lord willing, we're going to see you guys. Take care. Bye-bye. If it had not been for the Lord on my side, tell me where would I be? Where would I be if it had not been for the Lord on my side? Tell me where would I be? Yeah, where would I be? Have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you so much for your support and your contribution to this program. See you next time. Bye-bye.